It's already a long time I didn't have such a big crowd. I must tell you, if you don't understand, don't feel bad, because usually I get a 5%, I never say it, but now I'm going to say it. I get a 5%, so if I have 100 people, 5 will come out. But maybe you are different. We'll soon see.
Like it's best if it's close.
Close? Okay. Like always, I start the shiur with a question, but whoever was by the shiur already, one of the shiurim shouldn't even try to answer. Only people, I want people to do a little thinking. Here you see the world inside, and that's the sky, right? The moon and the sun, they're all part of the clear plastic, which means the sky, as they go around the world. Every Shabbos Mevorchim, we call out when is the Meilad. And we know also that by the Meilad, we can't see the moon. Now, if, let's say, they called out that the Meilad will be 12 o'clock at the middle of the day. Now, people who live on top of the globe, so by them 12 o'clock in the middle of the day will be when the sun will be on top of their head. Right? That's 12 o'clock in the middle of the day for the people who live on top. For the people who live over here, will be 12 o'clock in the middle of the day over here. And 12 o'clock in the middle over here for the people who live on the bottom. But for the people, let's say that's the sun. So the sun will be on top of Yerushalayim. You see Yerushalayim over there, the little paper. So that's 12 o'clock, and we say now is the Moilad. Where will be the moon at that time that we say we can't see it? Where will the moon hide that we can't see it? No? Huh? In the other side. What do you mean the other side? Huh? So that's why you can't see the moon. So where would be the moon? Between the sun and the earth. Good. You people are very good. Very good. Very good. Okay. So now I'm going to show you a picture through the month how the moon will look to us. Huh? Now, we all know that the sun is a moil. In other words, it has its own light. The moon is like a mirror. It doesn't have its own light. By the Meilad, we are over here, we live over here, and that's the sun. The sun is lighting the top part of the moon. We live over here, we see the bottom part of the moon. Now the bottom part of the moon is not lit because only the top is lit, so we can't see any moon. In middle of the month, Tezvov, so the sun is lighting this part of the moon. We look from here, we see the same part where the sun is lighting, and by Meila we see the whole moon or the whole half a moon. Zayin, the sun is lighting this part, but this part is on top, we can't see it, so we have only a half a moon or a quarter of a moon. And the same thing is Chof Aleph. Okay? That's... Huh? No. I'm giving an example of 6 o'clock in the afternoon when the sun goes down. But the same thing would have been when the sun is over here. It doesn't make a difference. Now I'm going to show how does it get its movements. Okay, now you see, I'm going to go one more time. This is the whole sky, and inside is the globe. The Rambam says in Ilches Seder Torah that around the globe there is 9 spheres. Okay, 9 spheres are around the globe. I'll start from the top one. The top one is a sphere which doesn't have any stars in it. Just, we'll soon see what its job is. The 8th one below the 9th, you see, has, when we go out at night, we see the whole sky full of stars. So the Rambam says all these stars belong in the 8th sphere. And below the 8 there is 7 spheres, and each one has at least 1 star in it. That's called the Shiva Koich Veleches, the 7 planets, Shatzam Chankal, Shabtai, Tzedek, Mardim. Now, the lowest, the one the closest to us, the sphere, has in it the star which we call the Levona. Okay? And then the middle one, the number 4, is the sun. The sun is in the 4th sphere. Now,
What is a sphere? What is a sphere?
like this, like a round ball, but it's not full. It's not. It's empty inside. You see this plastic?
There's 9 of those.
Right. And like we said, the first one doesn't have any stars in it.
How thick are they?
I didn't measure. Okay? Now the Rambam tells us that the 9th sphere is called Galgal Ayoimi. Why is it called Galgal Ayoimi? The daily sphere? Because it goes every day around the whole globe. When it goes around the whole globe, a full circle, so how many degrees did the sphere, the Galgal, go through the day? 360 degrees per day. Now, the nature of that's the way Hashem made him. When he turns around the world, so he takes.
Some big clouds, so it's important.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So when the Galgal goes around, the sphere goes around the world, the 9th one, he takes all the spheres which are inside him together with him. It's like a train which goes, let's say, from east to west, and there is people inside. So the people obviously are going to go the same speed of the train. So that's what happens with that sphere. And we are standing, the way we are standing is good, because this is east, right? And so, in other words, the sphere is going from east to west. Like we see every morning the sun comes up, we see the moon comes up. So because that's because the 9th sphere takes them along with him. The Rambam also tells us in We say that the astronomers in the time of the Mabul, they saw in the Galgal Hashmini, in the eighth sphere, they saw a belt of stars which went around the whole sky, and that belt made like 12 pictures. That's called the constellations. If we divide 360 into 12, what are we going to get? 30. So in other words, each constellation, we call it mazel, has 30 degrees in it. Where are they? Which part of the sky? In which part of the sky are the constellations, the mazoles? Now, as we can see over here, east is in the other side, west is over here. This will be what? Tzofim, right? That's Tzofim over there. And that will be Doron. In other words, they divided. That's called also the equator, the Kava Mashve. This part of the sphere is called Kava Mashve. So Kava Mashve divides between the south and the north. Half of the sphere is in the south, half in the north. Now, the constellations are exactly what you see the black line. 6 of the constellation was from the equator going into the north, maximum north, and now they go back to the equator. Now they go, and from here they go to south, maximum south, and back to the equator. How many degrees from here to here? Almost. 23 and a half. 23 and a half is from the equator to the most that the constellation, the Mazoles, goes to south, and the same thing, 23 degrees the most as it goes to north. The Rambam tells us that in the Zman HaMabul, the astronomers then, theoretically, they took the constellations from the Galgal Hashmini. We said the whole time that Galgal Hachi doesn't have any stars. So in other words, if it doesn't have any stars, it's a plain sphere, so you can't give an address. If you want to give an address, it's here. So how do you give an address if you don't have how to describe the address? So what they did, they took the constellations, the mazoles from Galgal Hashmini, theoretically put it in Galgal Hachi, and now we have in the Galgal Hachi, Galgal Hayomi, we have address. Let's say the first mazel, right? The first mazel is what? Tole. We took Tole, we put him from the equator till 30 degrees away from the equator. So this, whoever will be, whichever star will be in this place, we say this star is in Tole. And so on, in Shoir, in Tohoimim, in Sartan, and so on. Today's Tishrei. What do we put over here? Moznaim, good. So here we have Moznaim. So that's how that's what they did. They put it in the Galgal Hachi, and now we have, theoretically, we have address in Galgal Hachi. Okay, so now, obviously, this is the equator, and both, that's the South Pole, the other side is the North Pole. How many degrees is from the equator to the South Pole? 90 degrees, good. Okay, now we're going to go to the sun. We said if a star or a sphere, besides which is in the ninth, wouldn't have any of its own movement, so how much will it travel every day?
Same.
360 degrees. Now, the Rambam tells us that the sun, I'll tell you first where it is. Okay. So the sun, we said each star, each planet has its own sphere. So the sphere of the sun is the fourth one, and its direction where it turns inside the Galgalachi. In other words, if I'm in a train which goes very fast from east to west, I get up and I start walking. I can walk to the side, I can walk the speed of I can walk in the direction where the train goes, or I can go the opposite direction. So what happens, let's say I'm in a train and I walk in the direction of the train. So who goes faster now, me or the train? I go faster than the train. Because I'm going, whatever the train does, I'm going even further. If I go the opposite direction of the train, then I go slower than the train. Right? So now, the sun goes, we said the Galgalachi goes from east to west. The sun, let me say it again, the sun is actually, the way we learn, the sun is actually part of the sphere. In other words, the sun, part of the sphere, and when the sphere turns, it takes the sun with it. So the sphere of the sun goes every day 1 degree from Ma'ariv to Mizrach, from west to east. In other words, let's say that would be the sun, so that's this side in west, so the sun goes every day 1, not in one jump. Through the day, it goes slowly, in the end of 24 hours, it will travel a degree, and so on and so on.
Going backwards?
You say again?
Going backwards?
You can call it whatever you want, but he's going opposite direction. But when I say it goes 1 degree a day, in comparison to who? In comparison to Galgalachi. It's like in the train. The train goes 100 miles an hour. I stand up and I walk like very slow back. It's nothing, but I still walk back. If I was in the beginning of in the front of the train, now I'm going to be in the back of the train.
So why it's to this side?
Because it's going from west to east.
Oh.
Okay? Because east to west means like this, and the sun goes west to east. Now, the Rambam also tells us that the sun, where is the direction of the sun? Where is it going from west to east? So the sun is going exactly in middle of the mazoles. Exactly middle of the mazoles, they say, is about 12 degrees wide, and he goes exactly like 6 from each side in middle of the mazoles. Now he goes, let's say, today what we have? Today we have Tishrei, right? The end of Tishrei. Today is already over here. So that's where the sun is now. And tomorrow you'll be here and here and here and here and here, till you will get over here. Where will the sun be then? What will be then when the sun comes over here? Huh? Tavis. You'll be in the middle of the winter. And when the sun comes back to the equator, will be Nisan. And here will be middle of the summer. So every day it goes a little bit, and through the year, he will travel through the whole Galgalachi, through the old mazoles. And actually, that's what's called the year of the sun. A year of the sun means when the sun will travel through all the mazoles and come back to where it started. If it starts from Nisan, so it'll take him a whole year to come back over here.
So why it's 365 days?
So now, the question is, according to our explanation, it should have taken how many days for a year? 360 days. But the Rambam says, Yud Aleph, Yud Beis, the Rambam said that the sun actually goes every day a little bit less than a degree. And because it goes a little bit less than a degree, it needs more than 360 days to complete the whole cycle. Okay, so we have a year, and we have, what's at Kufa? What means at Kufa? At Kufa is simple. They took the year and divided it into 4. Each quarter is called at Kufa. This is called, when the sun is over here, it means when the sun crosses from the south, crosses the equator into the north, that will be Tkufas Nisan. When the sun comes to maximum to the north, maximum in the middle of the summer, it will be Tkufas Tammuz and Tkufas Tishrei and Tkufas Teves. Okay, I think we finished with the sun. Before we go into with the moon, if somebody has a question, let's hear it now. Nobody, yeah.
Every day the sun goes.
Come over here. Yes.
Every day the sun goes back 1 degree.
Yes.
So by six months pass, the beginning of the day, the sun has to be in the middle of the sky. The sun has to start in the middle of the sky.
Okay, you're right. I'll have to explain more. Okay, you're right. Okay? Yes, a good question. Let's put the sun over here. It's 12 o'clock in the middle of the day. Where will be the sun? The sun will be right on top of us, right? 12 o'clock in the middle of the day, the sun. What will be in 24 hours? What will be in 24 hours? In 24 hours, how much will the Galgalachi go?
60.
Huh? 360. Full circle. In other words, he'll go here and come back over here. Where will be the sun? Huh? The sun will be one back. In other words, not to Mizrach. So if we're going to go according to this cheshbon, so in 3 months, it'll be, where will be the sun in the middle of the day? It'll be all the way in the east. But actually, the Galgalachi doesn't go 360 degrees a day. How many degrees does it go? Good. It goes 361, but not really 361, but 360 plus what the sun goes from west to east. And we said that it goes a little less than a degree. So that's what the Galgalachi is going 360 plus 59. Huh? So now it's beautiful. Look, let's say we show 6 o'clock. Here is 6 o'clock in the afternoon, right? So the Galgalachi will make a full circle and come one down. But he will go back up to where it was. So in other words, every 24 hours, the sun will be over here.
The sun stays in the same place.
Huh?
The sun stays in the same place.
So, right, it will just move north or south, but east and west, it will be at the same place. Now, From here you can see, we know Me'ez Leis, right? A 24-hour cycle. So we see from here, there is actually no one koichov, or one sphere, that really finishes its cycle in 24 hours. Because the Galgalachi goes every day 361. So it's not a full cycle. The song goes every day 1. But in combination from the sun and the Galgalachi, then becomes a 24-hour cycle. Okay, now we're going to go to the moon. The moon is going very similar to the sun, but the moon goes, instead of 1 degree a day, how many degrees does the moon go a day? It goes over 13 degrees a day. In other words, if the moon will be here today, so in 24 hours, make a full cycle, and the moon will come up over here, and tomorrow higher and higher and higher and higher. How long does it take for the moon to finish the whole mazoles, all Galgala mazoles? How many? 20? You're good, man.
29 and a half days.
Okay, so how many 29 and a half times 13? How many? Huh?
96 and a half.
How much? It will take for the moon to go around all the mazoles 27 days and a third of a day. Look at the calculator. But what is a meilat? Like we showed before on the picture, a meilat means that the sun and the moon met at one spot of the mazoles. The moon is the lowest star. The sun is in the middle. I'll tell you just for your head. The moon is 250,000 miles from us. The sun is 93 million. But accompanying, when the sun is on top of the moon, that's the meilat. So let's say we have a meilat over here, right? We have a meilat over here. That's a Chodesh Nisan. Now, what will happen in 24 hours? In 24 hours, the moon will travel 13 degrees. The sun will travel 1 degree. Right? Tomorrow, again, and the sun will travel 1 degree. In other words, the moon is really getting away from the sun. Now, how long will it take for the moon to catch the sun again? 29 and a half. In 29 and a half days, the moon will catch back the sun. But they started over here. When the moon came over here, the moon finished the circle, right? It started from here, finished the circle in 27 and a third of a day, but there is no Melad, because in that time, the sun already moved over here. So it needs 2.5 more days for the moon to catch the sun. So that's why it takes 29.5 days. Is it understood? You good? Huh? You know it before? Or? Okay. Anybody any questions, so everybody understands? Okay, so we have the Melad, let's say Melad Nisan, right? So Melad means the moon is right under the sun. When the sun is on top of the moon, that means we have the Melad. Now, what will happen in 24 hours? In 24 hours, the moon will travel 13 degrees, and the sun travels only 1 degree. And tomorrow the same thing, another 13 and another degree. Till in the end of the month, 30 days later, so how many degrees does the sun travel in 30 days? 30 degrees. So the sun will be over here, and by 27 days, again, like I said before, in 27 days the moon finished the cycle, but it's over here, and there's no Melad because the sun is already over here. So you need 2.5 more days for the moon to finish, to get to the next Melad. Okay? Right on. Why do we need Ashana Mu'beres? What brings us to?
But it doesn't go 12 months around. It goes 12 months around. It won't end up in the same place. It's not enough.
Why not? Why not?
It's not.
It gets further.
End up a bit before.
Why do we need Ashana Mu'beres? Ashana Mu'beres we need because Pesach must come out when the sun crossed the equator. In other words, Kufas Nisan means, like we said before, when the sun goes over the equator, from south to north. And only after the sun crosses the equator, then we can make Pesach. If Pesach will supposedly come out when the sun is still here, so we can make Pesach. So we have to make Ashana Mu'beres. So now, why is it a steady that we have to make Ashana Mu'beres every 3 years, every 2 years? Because every month we said now is 29.5 days. If we make 29.5 times 12, how many days are we going to get?
354.
Huh?
354.
354. So 354 days, how we said the sun travels every day less than a degree. So in 354 days, how long, how far, how many degrees does the sun travel? Huh? No? How many degrees does the sun travel in 354 days?
58, 59.
Huh? The Rambam gives a name to it. The Rambam calls it smach. 348 degrees. Okay, so let's see what will happen now. We have over here the Meled, let's say Meled Nisan, we said. So when will be the next Meled Nisan? The next Meled Nisan will be 348 degrees from here. So in other words, 348 degrees, the Meled will be over here. 12 degrees away from the equator, from the Tkufe. Now, is this a problem?
No.
It's not a problem. Because we have, till Pesach, we have 14 days, 15 days. So in 14, 15 days, the sun will be already over the Tkufe, over the equator. But what will be next year? Next year, we will lose another 12 degrees. Now we're already 24 degrees, Meled Nisan. So when Pesach will come, the sun will still be before the equator. So that's why we must make another order. And once we have another order, so we give enough time for the sun to cross the equator.
And then we're after. The Melod is not so this is 6.
Meled Nisan will be over here. Not only Pesach. The whole Meled will be later.
So why do we have to do it every 2 years?
I don't give you exact numbers, or I just give you the idea what triggers to make the, you know what I mean? You have to know when there's a machlekes b'chlal when it started. Where was the sun to move when it started? And you know what I mean? It's very hard to. Any questions? No questions. No questions. Yeah. What do you mean it never comes?
Never had the Zionism for Pesach.
Oh, do you mean Bepeil Mamish now?
Yeah.
Oh, don't forget one thing. The Tkufa that you know, that we know, is Tkufa Shmuel. And the Rambam says Beferish in today's that nearly as we go with the Tkufa of Ravade, not Shmuel. For Shmuel, you're right. Shmuel comes out after Pesach. The Tkufa.
How?
What do you mean how? Because Shmuel, there is a machlekes, like we learn in today's shiur, it says the machlekes, how long is the ear? According to Tkufa Shmuel, the ear is much longer. And like Atpa, you learned Atpa, 1 hour, Topei Halokim. Okay, I'll talk a little bit about that. In order, we have months, right? The months go only according to the moon. The sun doesn't have months. The sun is to the ear the same, looks the same. But the ears, we go with the sun. In other words, if it says Pesach should be Chodesh Aviv, so the moon doesn't have Chodesh Aviv, but the moon is. So the Chachomim, that's why they made a system of 19 years, 7 Shonim Ubores, and 12 Pshutais. So the 12 Moboris and 12 shooters, 7 Moboris makes another 19 years of the moon is almost exactly like the 19 years of the sun. So every 19 years, they supposedly they finish at the same time. But like the Rambam says, it's not exactly. Because according to Shmuel, so every year, it takes for the sun another hour, almost an hour and a half, to finish the cycle. So when you talk about 1 year, it's okay. But when you talk about thousands of years from my separations, so it moved already a good couple of days. And that's our problem now, because it moved already 2 weeks maybe. So now the Tkufa for Shmuel will come out after Pesach. But according to Ravade, it comes out good. Because he says that the year is a couple minutes shorter. I'm actually finished.